Hello, this is a video about the decorator design pattern. So here's the definition. The decorator pattern allows dynamical addition of responsibilities for separate objects. So by using a decorator, you can provide an alternative for subclassing for extended functionality. And here's the UML of how you're doing this. So first up, you are having a component, probably an interface, and it contains an operation you want to do. So one way of actually implementing this is to create a direct concrete component that you want to do. However, if you want to add another operation without changing this concrete component that's already in use, you can create a decorator where you are, well, in this example, you are overriding the existing operation and using this decorator, concrete decorator, to actually implement this operation. But you can either add more variables or more operations without changing the workings of this concrete component already. So yes, extending the functionalities and responsibilities of the component without changing. So why should I use this? As I said, the decorator allows you to change the functionalities dynamically and even in runtime if you need. So let's say you have a big service you are running, for example, Facebook. You want to extend it, so you just can't take it down and make your changes. Sometimes that's necessary, but if you just want to add another component, the decorator is a very good choice. And if you have a situation where you have a large number of subclasses, and subclassing will provide a massive task to implement, you can categorize your subclasses and use decorators in order to make it more applicable. So in order to show you how it's done, let's make a little example. So first up with the UML. Let's make a class diagram out of this. So first up, what we need is an interface for the component. In this example, I'm going to use shape, the shape interface, and it only has one method called draw. So now what we're going to do first, we'll implement two concrete shapes. So we have a circle and we have a rectangle. And we're implementing them. So let's add the arrows there and then the rectangle as well. There. And of course, since we're implementing the interface, we want to add the methods here. There. So this is the basic shape, and we have two concrete shapes. Now let's say I want to add a border. Okay, I could extend this shape that it has to contain a border object, or I can create a decorator that actually adds the border. So we have these concrete shapes here, and by default they have no border, but I can add it through decorator. So first up, let's make a class called shape decorator. This one actually adds the functionalities or defines the functionalities what we are going to add. So we are implementing the shape interface. So of course we need the draw method again. But then, as I showed in the definition here, we need the component inside the decorator. So here we are using aggregation. However, composition is just as valid. So adding composition here because the border can't exist without the shape. And we have one shape in one shape decorator. Let's just add a title. There. And now, of course, we can add this shape as a variable here. Okay, now what else do we need? When we create a decorator, of course, when you're constructing the whole thing, you want to define the shape already at the beginning. So a parameter for the constructor to allow the shape to be defined when this decorator is built. And of course, we don't want to have a direct decorator, just a decorator. So we're making it abstract in order to block users to create just a decorator. So then we wanted to have that border. So let's call our new class border decorator, just to keep the name simple. And let's take the shape, the border decorator. So yes, now the border decorator is inheriting the shape decorator as it should be. So then again, we have the method called draw there. We want to have it here as well. And we also need a constructor with a parameter, because when we are constructing this border decorator, we need to construct a shape decorator. Still follow? Good. So then let's add one more variable here to define the color in which the border will take. So we're not saying that it'll be the same color as the original shape, because we don't define the color here at all. So that's why. And here we basically have our whole program that actually creates shapes, and you can add borders there. Then what we still need is a main class. Let's call it main class and add the method called main and add some parameters, arguments for the method, and make it static so it'll be recognized as the main class. So then where do we link this main class? In order to use the shape, you need to use the shape decorator. So you could use directly just the shape, but then you will ignore the shape decorator. But if you use this decorator already, you are using shapes as well. So technically, we can say that we are using shape decorators and be done with it. So of course, when you think about this shape decorator and border decorator connection here, you see that the shape has the visibility metric of private. However, when we're here in the border decorator and we're calling draw, we want to use this shape directly. so we don't have to inherit it or any other. So the shape remains here, but we are calling to draw from here. So we need to change from private to protected. There. So let's make it in Java then. Okay, no source files, and then just generating the code. And now there is source files. So first up, we have some problems here. And this is an error because this shape there is no shape inside this class while we are still just extending the shape decorator. Let's get back to that later. So first up, we have a rectangle and circle. So let's just implement those quickly. So just going with the simple prints, nothing too complex here. And the same thing with the rectangle there. So we're done with the concrete shapes for now. Then let's take the shape decorator here. And now what we want to do is to assign the shape that is given. So we just assign the parameter to the variable here. And now the draw method is just simply calling shape.draw. Of course, we could also abstract this method and implement it only in the concrete decorator. However, I'm adding this here now. So that's all for the shape decorator, and then to this border decorator. So first up, in the constructor, we want to assign the shape that is given to this constructor. So what we're doing, we're calling the base class. So the shape decorator class is called with the keyword super. This gives the parameter to the constructor in the shape decorator, so it assigns this parameter to the variable inside. And then we also want to initialize the color here. So I'm using red for now. Again, the draw method. We can just shout to the shape that we want to draw this. And also we want to print out something that we have a border now. So basically just add a printing line here to define that we have this border of this color. As, of course, you could also add the width and the other parameters, but just keeping it simple here. So then, now that everything is okay, we go to the main class and actually do something. So first up, I'm gonna just create a new circle with a typo, as it seems. And then I want to create a new circle with a border. So what I'm doing is I'm calling a new border decorator. There. And then I have to give it a parameter, so I'm creating a new circle again. And then let's make a rectangle with a border again. So again, the same things. Simple as that. So then we'll just draw everything in order to show how this works. There. And run. So first up, we're printing a circle, just a basic circle. Then printing another circle, but this one has a red border. So we could also take the print and change this shape word into saying that it's an instance of this class. However, that's a bit too much for now. So here's the rectangle, and we'll just dictate that it has a red border as well. So that's the very basics of a decorator class, or the decorator design pattern. But try it out and see what happens.